right, welcome back to part 5 and the final segment of our rebuild of the 028 Stihl wood boss from 1983. In this episode, we're going to continue assembling everything. We're going to put the right side together, the left side together. We're going to put the jug and the piston and all back in it and the ignition, and we're going to crank this thing up and see what it can do. All right, the next thing that I noticed here that you got to be aware of is right here. We put a new gasket in here, and now this gasket is sticking up. It's sticking up right here where the cylinder is going to bolt down. On the back and the front, it's sticking down or up, whatever your perspective may be. And that is in the way of when we lay the other gasket on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm going to go in here and cut this off flat. Turn it like this so you can see. And I keep a little razor blade handy in my garage for 1,000 different reasons. Now, be careful, don't cut it, let it fall down in the crankcase here. Let's just see if we can give it a little shave here. Look at that, see? Shave that little piece off. See, this right here would have interfered with the jug bolting down and forming a good seal. That right there. So we'll make sure we get all of it. Alright, so one thing I'm going to do is, this is a good flat piece of metal that I have here, and I'm going to take some sandpaper and just put on here, and I'm going to take my jug and lay it on it, and I'm going to just kind of go back and forth with it here and just, I'm just going to flatten, make sure it's good and flat. Alright, so on the piston, air needs to be able to move freely around some of these openings here, okay? It helps. I don't understand all of it, okay? I'm not a chainsaw genius. But I do see that there are a lot of little burrs in here. And so I'm just going to real carefully take my die grinder here with a little burr tool on it. And I'm going to very carefully just go in here and remove some of them. Oh yeah, that looks great. All right, so looking at this jug here, and I know you can't see it in these videos, all right? But up in here, there's just a little, it's not smooth, okay? Let me put it that way. It's not smooth. And I'm not gonna open it. I'm not gonna try to make it bigger. I don't want to change the timing and none of that mess. But I will just smooth away some of the bad casting marks that are there. That's all. If I can get to it, I will smooth it. Okay, so we've got the case together, we've got the jug and the piston deburred or smoothed up, trued up, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I wouldn't just take one of these Chinese deals out of the bag and slap it on. I guess you could, but you know, I got eyes. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look for casting flanges and slag or whatever that may be in there. And I think we did a pretty good job. We just took the burr and real carefully just knocked off all the rough places and opened it up a little bit. And I'm happy. I don't see anything here that's going to hurt anything. Did the same thing on the piston. Got it ready to go. So what's next? We need to put the rings on the piston. We need to get the piston started into the cylinder like this. Just started like so with the rings on it. And then I'm going to bring the piston and the jug and everything over here and then slide the wrist pin into it, okay? Put the bearing and the wrist pin in. All right, we've got the case together, got the rod, all that in there, and now it's time to put the seals back in and the stuff on the right hand side of the saw. So we can go ahead and put the complete right side together. We can put the flywheel and all that back in this side and put the handle and all that back together, but not install it yet. I don't want to install it till the jug's back on. All right, so we're going to take the seal here, and the seal actually fits inside of the bearing. If you notice on this bearing on these particular saws, the large bearing has a machine back, or whatever you want to say, surface back in there. That's made for this seal to fit into. So I thought, when I had the bearing in my hand, I said, this is kind of an unusual shape to this bearing, but now, you know, I understand it's for the seal. So what we're going to do to install this seal is this thing sits nice and flat here, and we're going to have a socket here that fits this seal, just like so. And I'm going to take my hammer, and I'll just very lightly, because you don't want to deform this seal. And I also want to put a little dab of oil around it, and I may even put just a little bit of sealer around it, around the outside here. In fact, I may do that first. Let me get my hammer. All right, so I'm going to take the little bit of oil, and I'm going to put it on the crankshaft. I'm not going to put it on the outside of the bearing surface where the seal is going to be sealing up at. This will get some oil on the O-ring as it goes down. Now I'm going to just hold the seal here, and I'm going to put just a little tiny smear around it. Just a little bit. That's plenty right there. That's plenty. Okay. Wipe get the excess off my fingers. Okay. Okay. Now, just gonna see if we can get this thing started a little bit here. See how I kind of got it started by hand. I didn't, you don't want to just start banging it on there. It's getting pretty darn close. A little bit more maybe. Right there, just a little. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. All right, now we're going to work on the left-hand side of the saw. We're going to get the seal here and get it installed. We're going to need to get the appropriate size socket, and got my sealer here and my oil. Here's the sealer, here's the oil, so we're ready to go there. Put that right there. All right. Socket. Clean off this seal. Just a little bit of sealer on it, like we did the other side. I mean, just a little. Don't need much. All right. A little bit of sealer on there. Okay. All right, let's real carefully. Feels pretty good. Let me give this a little more. One little tap here. I believe that's it. Seal is in. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna try starting it up. It's still not fully assembled yet, but we're gonna give it a shot here. Let's switch on. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, we're almost done with this thing. We've got to put the handlebar back on it that I've just painted, put the bar and chain on it, put the cover, bolts, all that, wrap up the loose ends, and this baby will be done. So let's go ahead and get the handlebar. All right, this is a true cold start of this saw. We're gonna choke it. This thing hasn't been run, so we're gonna see what it's gonna do here. The 028's running great. I can't wait to get it out there. Let's get it on the trail, do some trail maintenance, get into some wood, see how she does. I'm so glad that I was able to share this adventure with you.